let's rip the band-aid off. If you've watched this channel before, you know I love my theatrics. I won't deny it. I love creating that dramatic introduction with all the wisdom and build-up. It's always so much fun and a great way to entice you viewers into continuing the video. But this time, I've got nothing. This movie, K-pop Demon Hunters, it's broken my entire writing structure. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It only took a year, but I've finally been bested. I have no words. So all we can do now is throw everything we used to do out the window. Out with the flair, out with the dramatic. It's straight back to brass tacks. K-pop Demon Hunters has taken the world by storm. If you're watching this video, it means you've already watched it. Go figure. It's the biggest movie on Netflix. The animation is top level. Thank the Spider-Verse animators for that gold standard. The characters are lovable. The entire soundtrack is a banger after banger. There's just no avoiding it. The people love this movie. I love this movie. It's been a couple of weeks since its release. I want to go over some things that I think are important to discuss and break down in a bit more detail. You know, things like Rumi, our lovable songstress and badass leader of Huntrix, and probably the most interesting part of this entire movie, the patterns. There is a lot underneath both of these important parts, and that's why I'm here. I'm gonna break down just important how they are. So, let me show you. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I needed at least one little bit of flair. All right, I think the best place to start off is definitely with Rumi, seeing as how she is the main character, you know. The entire movie pretty much focuses around her, and I think it's a great spot to, you know, just start and break things down. I think the most interesting part about Rumi is not only her, like, you know, her dual heritage, but I think it's also fair to point out that she is like the perfect middle ground between Zoe and Mira. It's not only reflected in, you know, her color scheme, where she's purple, Zoe's blue, Mira's pink. I also think it's interesting how she is experiencing both what Zoe experiences in her backstory and what Mira experiences in her backstory. Zoe's experience of being, you know, of two different heritages and trying to, you know, decide on which one she wants to be, and Mira's is trying to, you know, live up to her family, but she doesn't feel like she fits in overall. I think that's such an amazing detail and how it reflects upon Rumi. She is the perfect middle ground to connect people like Zoe and Mira together to, you know, to form Huntrix. I think that is geniusly told. I cannot stress that. It is so well thought out. And it even says a lot of things about Rumi's foster mother, Celine. She formed Huntrix around Rumi. She brought in people who, you know, are somewhat similar to her in order to, you know, help her feel like she can fit in a little bit more. And it's so well thought out. And throughout the movie, we see her challenge these different parts of herself one at a time. Her first challenge obviously being her drive to impress her family, live up to that family name, to carry on the title of being a demon hunter. It can also be reflected into how she's, you know, trying to push for the new single, Golden, to reach the top of the charts as fast as possible, because she is trying to enforce that she is a part of this heritage and history. She doesn't want to feel like she's left out. And I think that is so well done, because it also makes you remember she is half demon, and because of that, she doesn't feel like she's able to, you know, fit into this family. And then in the second half of the movie, we see her other conflict, which is trying to figure out, is she a demon or is she a human? And I wish we got more time to explore it, because that one scene with Celine where she's confronting her, asking Celine, you know, to kill her, it shows that she doesn't even know what she wants to be anymore. She doesn't know who she is as a person. It's so well thought out, because it shows not only her own internal struggle, but it not only shows her own internal struggle, but it also shows how it's affecting the people around her. It's making people scared of her. It's showing her markings are becoming more obvious. She looks more and more like a monster, because that's how she sees herself. It's clever, it's ingenious. I can't just help but give, you know, claps all around. And by the story introducing Ginu into her world, it shows that for the first time, she might not actually be able to feel so lonely. Yes, she has her best friends in the forms of Mira and Zoe, but she has someone who's almost exactly like her. Well, someone who can, you know, relate to some extent. And I think that shows how we can all feel like there's that piece missing inside of us, because there is always going to be something that, you know, will tug at our strings, you know, make us feel like we're not perfect, but that's life. And I think Ginu is that perfect catalyst for Rumi. And I think the only thing that really annoys me about this entire whole sequence is that we don't get enough in terms of, you know, understanding how Rumi came to the decision of, I'm going to embrace both sides to become the most powerful person I can be. I wish we could have seen that realization of, I am my own person. I am not controlled by Gima. I'm not controlled by Celine. I am Rumi. And with that, I now want to talk about what is probably my favorite integration of this entire movie, the patterns. I love the patterns as a plot device and as a concept. The idea that demons are marked with these weird lines and shapes that look like thorns all across our bodies. It's so visual, it's so telling. The name is perfect. Patterns can have more than one meaning. It can mean a design choice, but it can also mean a repetition in behavior. Everyone has patterns of behavior, and I think that is so well thought of, because when you apply the idea of a pattern to a behavior, it can reflect habits, it can reflect decisions. We are all defined by patterns, yet these ones are just the ones of sin and guilt and anxiety. It's so well thought out, and the idea of Rumi having patterns is such a great plot device. It shows how even these badass fighters who are protecting the world can have their own insecurities, they have their own secrets, they have their own doubts, and because of that, it forces people to make decisions that they would not normally make. It would force them to do things out of fear. It would force them to just forget their own morals that they usually stand up for because they are scared and afraid. It's amazingly written. To take this even further, Gima, the big bad of the movie, he's not even really a figure or a king. He is the embodiment of anxiety itself. And I think with that, we can assume that his voice is just one voice. And if you remember in the third act of the movie, everyone's doubts, they're voiced by their own inner thoughts. It's not Gima's voice, it's their own voices telling them, these insecurities about themselves. Zoe's is about how she can't find her own place. She's way too optimistic. Mira's is about how, she can't find a family that will accept her. It's so well done. Even Bobby's so scared that he's letting his girls down. It feels like he's, the one causing them to fall apart. He feels like he's not a good manager. It's amazingly written. I love it. Gima may be the Demon King, but he's not at the same time. He is just the physical embodiment of anxiety. He's not even given a physical body. He is a mass of flames. He does nothing. He's not physical. All he is a voice. And that voice is anxiety personified. It's such an amazing attention to detail, because at the end of the day, Gima doesn't control the demons. He controls their anxiety. He controls their fears. That's how he's able to maintain this army, because these are all people who have fallen into depravity, into fear. They have lost their way. It's so good. I love it. I absolutely love it. And the idea that you steal souls is even better, because a soul is a conscience almost. And look, I play a lot of Persona. I'm going to be making a lot of, references to Persona if I need to. And the idea of the soul being the decisions that we all make is perfect. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out a bit because I don't have a psychology degree. I wish I did, but I don't. But I think the way that everything is represented just to the human psyche, our emotions, and how we choose to use them is perfect. And the best part is we can say that the hunters singing is the opposite of fear and anxiety. It is the idea of hope and safety. That is how the Honmun is probably even able to be forced in the first place. It is the physical antithesis to Gima's patterns. It is hope versus fear, and they come clashing together in this amazing battle, because with hope, you do not need to fear. And I think that is the story that this movie is trying to tell. You know what? I can prove that even more. The weapons Huntrix use, I bet you that is a representation of the hope that they provide. And in the third act, when Genu sacrifices his soul to give Rumi an even bigger, cooler blade, that is Genu passing on his hope to Rumi. While yeah, the story does have its flaws in certain spots, you have to give it to the writers for this kind of stuff, because even in the small details, there is absolute cinema at play. I'm gonna be honest, I had kind of lost my hope with animated movies for a while, and K-pop Demon Hunters is probably the first time in a very long time where I'm confident in animation again. I'm really excited to see if this story will be fleshed out in any way, shape, or form. Because when I learned that this was meant to be a standalone movie, with no plans for ever, branching out, I was shocked. Like, this is a very rich universe that could have so many stories to tell from it. And the fact that they, I am lost for words. I'm genuinely shocked for words. I want to see more about the stories. Give me a 3-season long adventure. Give me more stories with Bobby. Give me more stories with Zoe. You know what? Show us Mira's family. I want to see that kind of stuff, because that's interesting. Show us the previous hunters. I want more. I just want more. What do you guys think? Thanks so much for making it to the end of this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed this new style of content I'm trying to figure out. I am trying to create a branch between both scripted and a bit of rambling, because I realized that if I try to do scripting content for too long, you know, it slows down my workflow, it slows down my mentality, but at the same time, I do want to just make you guys more videos, but I don't want to, you know, burn myself out with it like I did with Overlord. So with this out of the way, I hope you guys like this new format that I'm trying. And with that said, you know what the other channels tell you to do. Leave a like, leave a comment, and if you want to, subscribe. It's free. It actually helps me out a lot. And as always, I want to say a big thank you to Warlord, our channel's first ever member. He's awesome. He's also probably the only member right now, so that makes him even more awesome. And as always, I want to thank the subs on Twitch. You guys are awesome. You know who you are. But for now, I've got 2 other videos I want to make, so I'll see you guys then. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sam Stormer. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.